I have got the Durston X-Mid-2 Solid here, and I own this for now exactly 1 year. I've used it 40, maybe 50 nights, and if you're interested in what I think, continue watching and I'll tell you all about it. The great thing is you can use this tent with your trekking poles that I brought, but I also ordered these tent poles because if you are going out for a couple of days and you got one base camp like thing, you want to keep your tent standing and take your hike with trekking poles with you. So that's my preference to also buy these. But the good thing is, if you don't need the poles there, you can order the tents just without them. I've got the tent here, and I've got the ground sheet and the inner tent attached to the outer tent. That's actually, if you store it this way, makes it easier and quicker to set up. I will check the time. It's 4 o'clock exactly. So let's see how long this takes. So the first two, obviously easy because a straight line between 2 points and all that thing. Then the next one, if we get this right, the whole tent will be right. This should be a good 90 degrees angle. There's this little hole the pole goes in. Extend it to the required height. I'll show you these details later. For the other one, I'll use the trekking pole just to show that I can use that as well. Ready to sleep. I do want at least 2 more pegs, and that's to hold this bit down. And basically, in nice and relaxing weather, we are just ready, I think, with the tent. So that took all of 6 minutes. Get your corners right and you're good to go. And of course, it's a very good idea to have a bit of extra pegs in the ground, extra stability. So, what do I actually like about this tent, and why did I buy it in the first place? First thing is lightweight. For me, that was the main thing, because I came from a tent that was initially, I had a tent was at least twice as much weighing in weight. That was all right for quite a few years, because with 2 people you can share the weight. Then I wanted to go out alone with tent, so I was looking for a lighter one, and I found one, and both from Nature Hike. That was really a smaller tent, and it had only one entrance. You could still sleep with 2 people in it, but the entrance was on the front side, really small, so okay for 1 or 2 nights. But if you want to go further and do more hiking, it left something to be desired. Let's say that. Then I found the Durston, and that was really even lighter, and it was a lot more spacious. And you could use your trekking poles, then you not even carry the poles. So it sounded like a great deal. And I think it was, and it is. That's very good, but then also the space is quite high. Let's have a look here. The space is actually great. It's just in width for 2 people. Two mattresses can lay there, but because of the triangle shapes, or the trapezium, more like, you have 1 point, sort of triangle left on that side, and the same on the other side. That means additional space for just keeping your stuff inside your inner tent, which is already nice for things like clothes or personal items. And then you got this. This is the entrance. I've got it tied up with this handy little magnet thing. It's just so easy to take it off, but also put it on. I've got stored my entire backpack here. Happens to be a Durston. And I still can use the entrance as well, and I can even put things there. There's of course a smaller room, and it goes up all the way high up here, so that's really a bonus. If you're backpacking with 2 people, you both have an entrance here, you both have space for your gear, for your backpack, for all your stuff, and you keep some inside. Now inside the tent, one thing that some people might find a downside is that there's the high point here, and on this side it's actually a bit low. I was sleeping on this side. I did not have a problem with it, but it's really, yeah, some people might have a problem, but you can easily sleep 2 people with both the heads on this side or the other. This, of course, it's a symmetrical tent. Keep in mind that the mattress, the sleeping mat will come to about here, and it will leave this triangle shapes. So you would be lying with your head here. I'll try to show you now how easy it is to roll up this door and use the magnet. Click. I've been struggling with other systems making me leave the door just flapping and hanging, and this is, I think it's really an excellent thing. Very practical design. Well, so I mentioned spaciousness and inner and outer tent, lots of room. You can really see this whole backpack and some others, still some room there. The backing size, I think it's also been thought of quite good because it's not long, it's a bit shorter and wider, meaning it'll easily fit inside your pack or on top of your pack, which is handy because it'll be the first thing when you reach your campsite that you'll be needing. The pegs go in a separate little bag if you use the tent poles. You carry them separately somewhere where you can easily reach them. So that was most of the pros of this tent, what I like about it. And of course there are things that could use some improvement. And let's start off with these guy lines. These yellow ones are not original. What is original is this line, this color. It's obviously, I think it's more beautiful than the yellow one, but you don't really see it very well even in daylight. If this was the black as well, which it was before, it's so easy to not see it and trip over it. And if it's dark, it even gets worse. So I think that's very impractical for a very practical tent. I changed them, so it's not it's an easy fix. If you look here, there's actually very little room between the inner and outer tent. And by attaching a line here, I really should be putting it backward a bit more. I can sort of solve it a bit. Still, this is a problem of this tent because now I'm really putting it too tight. And of course I can adjust the height here, and maybe I should. And there's other things you can adjust. Let's see. So that it'll get more space. But overall, if it just starts to get windy, we have the problem that the inner and outer tent will touch. And what is the problem with that? If it's wet, then if the outer tent is wet, the inner tent gets wet as well if they touch. So now this is mostly solved, but if there's a bit more wind, it still can touch. Okay, well, another thing is, as we're mentioning these look very good, nice, inventive, having the design on the top where you can adjust the length of it. Maybe you can see it here. I have created a nut I tied down because a design fault. It's slippery, it slips. And of course I have another guy line now, but the original one had the same problem. And also with these corners, if there's a lot of wind, in the end it'll be like this, and that's really not what you need. So at some point start tying it down with a nut, and maybe there's other solutions that are better. So at some point I was camping sheltered with trees around like this, and then I thought, nuts or tying it down, not needed. There was though quite a bit of rain, not necessarily predicted, but it came. And it was actually quite heavy. Didn't get all of it because I was sleeping. The rain actually got went down on the tent so much that these still slipped just because of the rain and the weight of the water or something like that. So ending up with too loose a tent and inner and outer tent touching each other, and then getting your stuff wet again. And that's exactly what you don't want. So that was really, yeah, the biggest downside. But yeah, it's easily fixed by tying a knot in there. It takes away some of the comfort and the easiness of setting it up, adjusting. So maybe I'll find another solution with maybe other tensioners, whatever. And anyway, it's something that I think maybe in the design of the tent, the choice of materials could have been a better one. Another thing that's not really a design fault, but it's something to be aware of, that if you go out and you take along your trekking poles, expecting them to serve as holding up your tent, then they are actually a single point of failure. I had a failure with my trekking poles here. These nuts broke, plastic bits of it, probably tied it too put them too tight. Anyway, then you find yourself with a trekking pole that does not extend anymore, does not hold. So I was lucky that I was not alone. There were some other trekking poles along from my friend, but if I was not, then I would have had a problem. So be aware that if you do go out with your trekking poles, get at least some stuff with you that you can sort of deal with that kind of problem. So one thing I have not yet mentioned, and I'll tell you about it now. This is the 2-person variation of the X-Mid, and it's the Solid. What does it mean? This means that this bit is not mesh like this, but it's solid. And I have chosen that one, and I'm very happy I did, because the first lightweight tent I had was all mesh, and if it's a windy night, the wind will get below your tent here, and it will be quite cold, and this will definitely make a difference. So if you're camping in northern countries, or at least that it's not extremely hot and you only want ventilation, you would want some shelter against the cold, and this will help. So I recommend to anyone. Of course, each their own motivation and choices. As for details from the inside, a pocket here for your stuff, and you get some little flies. On the same, it's a totally symmetrical tent. The only thing I've had so far is a little problem, and I think it's on this side, with the zipper. That's, I think it's more the fabric which makes it get stuck. So I need to address that and probably just cut some of that fabric, and it'll be all right. Furthermore, I have used this tent for, like I said, 40 to 50 nights, 20 of them on hiking the coast-to-coast trail in England, which presented us with all kinds of weather, mostly a lot of wind, also rain, and like I said, whenever inner and outer tent are touching, they are, well, the inner tent gets wet. And had that problem a few times on the trail, especially one time when the ground was a bit sloped, already gliding down a bit towards the end, and then it's even easier to have the inner and outer tent touch. So that meant a sleeping bag getting wet, which is of course something you'd like to prevent. And overall still it held up very good. In the wind, had some very fierce winds, and other times last year I've had in icy conditions, even ice on the tent. Of course, that's not an issue for the tent, but it had held up. And one occasion on the Coast to Coast trail, we were actually on sort of high plains. There was this one pub where everybody was camping, and at least there was some shelter because of the wind was really bad. We were in the right place, just behind the wall, but it's still very gusty, windy. And one other tent of somebody did actually break down. That was perhaps a bit less ideal place with more wind, but they broke up and spent the night inside the pub. And some other people, actually also using Durston tents, decided to relocate and pitch up right beside this little tent, making it 3 Durstons in a row. So I'll show you a photo, and but they held up. So all in all, no issues after 1 year of use, and very happy with this tent. Of course, everything has its price and depends on how much do you have to pay for things. As it comes from Canada and I live in the Netherlands, I do have to deal with import taxes and VAT. So let me tell you what I did pay for it 1 year ago in September 2024. The tent itself nearly 300, and then the ground sheet 45, the separate ground sheet, which I'll show you here. It's right there. I think it's good to have. The poles you can do without, but I left them. I bought them for 65 euros, and then shipping was 25, ending up at 430 euros, which I think is okay. But then Mr. Taxman came along before I could receive my tent, and it was 12% import tax, and the VAT 21%, 12 euros for handling. All in all, 135. So that's good to know if you order directly from Durston in Canada and you're in Europe somewhere. And if you order from a shop in your own country, of course, you don't have that problem. You'll just see the price that you'll have to pay. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you want to see more videos, mostly about hiking or being outdoors, you can consider subscribing. And of course, leave a comment if you have anything to ask, or maybe some experiences of your own with this tent, or if you have tents that can be better, because my review is only for what I experienced, not comparing it to any other tents I never owned or used. So it's what it is. See you in the next video.